Hello and welcome to Breakfast All Day. We are doing remote breakfast delivery. I'm Matt, and Alonso is on the line, and Christy is on the line. We are recording via Skype so that we can still talk to you about the movies we've seen. We're focusing entirely on streaming titles because you can't go to the theater, certainly not in LA. There may be some theaters open around the country, but you'd probably be hard-pressed to find one. So we're going to talk about Swallow, and I believe Alonso or Christy, which one of you will describe?
I'll do it. Because I'm a girl. Because I'm also a housewife trapped at home. Putting things in my mouth that I shouldn't.
Well, in your case, it's Pop-Tart bites.
You're making me do the face palm, and we're not supposed to touch our faces, Christy, so I'll do it.
Right. It's a virtual face palm. Wash your hands first. So Haley Atwell is this young bride. She just got married.
Haley Bennett.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Haley Bennett also is a young bride. And she's married to Austin Stowell, who is handsome and wealthy. And she has this incredible house and this seemingly idyllic kind of candy-colored existence. But she's really lonely. And then she finds out she's pregnant, which does not give her any kind of warmth or joy or satisfaction. It only makes her feel more isolated. And so to try and feel something, anything, she starts putting things in her mouth and swallowing them. She has pica. This is known as pica, people who eat things that are not meant to be eaten. And it begins with things that are small. And I love the way they depict in a really understated fashion how she chooses and considers each item before she puts it in her mouth. And it begins with a marble. She looks at the marble between her perfectly manicured fingernails, which mine are not because I can't get out to the nail salon. And she eats it and she swallows it. And then eventually she passes it. And then she fishes it out and she washes it off. And one by one, she starts putting more and more sharp and dangerous things into her body. And she has this really meticulously laid out tray of all the things that she has put through her body. And it's kind of like an understated, quietly creepy, almost Cronenbergian body horror movie. But there's also great sensitivity to the situation in which this young woman has found herself. Because she thought she was going to be happy and have this perfect life with this perfect guy. And none of that comes true. And the ways in which she strives and strains to feel anything real become increasingly terrifying. And I was really blown away by this film, by it could have been shocking. It could have been shocking and gratuitous and in your face, but the stillness of it and the restraint of it are actually more powerful.
Yeah. It reminded me a lot of Todd Haynes' Safe. In terms of the way that it is about this woman who is very kind of sort of suppressive personality. She's trying to be the perfect wife and the perfect, mother to be, shot in a way that is, these surroundings are sort of beautiful, but at the same time very sterile and cold. And she is kind of, there's this whole idea of control and loss of control and how that manifests itself in a way that's sort of medical, and we're sort of left to sort of figure out for ourselves whether it's an actual ailment or if it's just a manifestation of her lack of control over her life. And I think it holds up to the comparison. I think Safe is a great movie, and this one I think is doing something interesting in its own way of the story it's telling.
This is only the second feature from director and writer Carlo Mirabella-Davis. And I think it's really ambitious, and also it kind of pulls off the thing it aims for. And it's got a really good supporting cast, including Elizabeth Marvel, always really good, as her mother-in-law.
Yeah, David Rasche.
Right, shows the path that she's on and clearly does not want to be on just for the sake of being unhappy in this wealthy family. And then she has one chilling scene with Dennis O'Hare. And that's all I'm going to say. Matt.
I thought this movie was terrific. This is a movie about addiction. It absolutely is. And you see her, and I love that it's presented at least in the beginning, the first couple acts of the movie, it's kind of presented as if it's a horror movie, as this thriller, because you are seeing what this woman's going through, and what Hunter is going through there's a couple of hints that maybe she's done this before, but as she feels less in control, she's doing things that straight out of the line, the first line of Trent Reznor's Hurt, right? Like, hurt myself today to see if I can feel. And she's so good at showing the kind of the satisfaction and the almost joy as she feels these things pass through her. Yes, there's very painful moments as well, but at least with the marble, like, she's giddy afterwards. And then what I was totally unprepared for is this movie pivots into something that I was not emotionally prepared for, and I think they just nail it. And I
think the pivot is where they lose me, actually.
Oh,
interesting.
No. Oh no, I disagree. I think the pivot.
Can you expand on that, Alonso, without giving anything away?
Yeah, I think that if this were a European film, we would be left to glean and infer more stuff on our own. And this movie to me kind of feels like, as much as the scene itself is really powerful and well acted and interesting, the movie kind of stops to be like, okay, and now we're going to explain everything, and we're going to leave you feeling like maybe it's going to be all right. And both of those things I find very. It's a thing that American art house movies do that, like, other cultures, that Asian films and other people's don't. And I think I would have been happier to be left with more ambiguity and with more unease, and the movie didn't feel like it was ready to commit to either of those things. So that's my only caveat. Like, otherwise, I mean, I think Haley Bennett's performance is great. I love the way this movie looks. I love the pacing of it, but I do kind of feel like it can't stop itself from, like, blah.
Over explaining and over hand holding.
Exactly.
And that bothers me too ordinarily, but I didn't hear.
Yeah, I don't agree so much, because I think one of the things this movie does really well is especially setting up, like, yes, Hunter's kind of a blank slate here, and you don't really get what makes her tick at all. But it starts to ask, when the mother-in-law asks, "Are you happy, or are you just pretending to be happy?" And you start to get the sense that even though we don't know who Hunter really was before this relationship, she's putting on, she's playing a role. Very much so, and what what she shows to most of the family is not who she is, and you're starting to see bits of it slip out, like at the party, at the birthday party when she gets really upset, and there's some bits that, like, oh, okay, there's the real person there, and I feel like, so the movie has kind of earned, everybody drink at home, earned its ability to show us and kind of and give us an idea as to whether or not she's going to be happy at the end. So I also love that, in line with this kind of somewhat updated but still mid-century modern home that we get that great scene of her vacuuming in the dress, like that skirt that I was like, oh, all she needs is pearls, and she looks dead on. She's
the Donna Reed moment.
Yeah, exactly. No, I really like this movie a lot. I mean, yes, we have differences of opinions on it, and I think, our scores aren't going to be that hugely different, but I'm more satisfied with the end, I think, Alonso, than you are.
Okay,
yeah.
No, fair enough. I know I don't agree with everybody on that one, but that was sort of my takeaway. But I still think people should see it. I think there's so much that does work in this movie, and again, like the performances and the that house, like that. The house is a character, y'all. It's absolutely worth a look.
Okay, so I'm saying 8.8. Alonso,
I said 7.2.
I said 8.5.
You did. So our number is an 8.2, and there might be a tomato score.
Remember, it is available streaming on iTunes and Amazon and all the places where you can rent stuff.
Go find it.
Find it.
By all means. Thanks for watching, you guys. You know, we're going to be here for the duration, and we hope that you'll stick around and join us for all of it. You can like this video here on YouTube if that's where you're watching it, and please subscribe to our channel so you can get updated every time we drop new material. Follow us on the social media at BeFastAllDay on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, and maybe drop over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/BeFastAllDay. You got a little extra time. We've got a little extra content. We're talking.
What else you got to do?
HBO shows. Sure, we're talking about HBO shows. This week we're talking. We let our members pick a classic that we review every month. This month it's Contagion, and you know, lots of other cool stuff coming up. So sending out our love to you guys. You know, be safe, be well, wash your hands. Take care of each other, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.